What's up, fam? Welcome to Birds of a Feather, live on A2DRadio.com, live from the Real Talk Studios. Our first half of our show is brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountants. Make them yours, GibsonMayer.com. Our Scanzano Sports poll question this week, which was actually provided to us by one of our fam members out there in South Bend, Indiana. He's a Cowboys fan. His name is Dirk, and I thought it was a pretty damn good question, so me and Charles decided to go with it. Which fourth quarter decision in Week 7 amongst the NFC East teams was the worst? Eagles only running once with a 17-point lead, the Cowboys' terrible clock management, or Eli Manning attempting 2 quarterback sneaks at the goal line. Join us on Facebook, Periscope, Instagram, YouTube. Fam, lots to talk about. I'm still speechless after this game this week. 17-0 going into the fourth quarter. 17-0 going into the fourth quarter. That's like just sitting in my head right now. And the wheels just came off. And I got to say, the moment that Carolina scored the first time, you could see a change in this team. And what I'm going to say is that I look at this team this year and last year's team from start to finish, they had heart, they had a killer instinct, they played whistle to whistle. This team, and I don't know if it's coaching, I don't know what it is, but I don't see the urgency, I don't see the killer instinct to close out. And it's about the only thing that could be more frustrating right now would probably be to be a Giants fan. And I don't mean that negatively because I've heard that from tons of Giants fans, which we're going to talk about that throughout the show. But to see this team and to look at Carson Wentz and to look at his numbers through the first 4 games this year, and to see that he's actually putting up better numbers than he did last year, an MVP year for him before he got hurt, and to see that this is still where we're at. The defense, all over the map right now. The offensive line, not reliable. And, I mean, listen, we know that we have injury issues. We have guys that I don't know if you want to call it regression or taking a step back from last year or a Super Bowl hangover, but there are guys that are not performing at the level that they did last year. I'm at a loss for words. I don't get pissed off. I don't get frustrated anywhere near as much as most fans because in the end, I'm one of the few that can sit back, and I'll get annoyed for a while, but it's a game. I move on to the next week. I'm struggling to do that this week. The last 2 weeks have just boggled my mind. Or not the last two, but the last 2 losses have really boggled my mind. And I don't really know where to go. That's all I got. I haven't even decided on the poll question because they're all atrocious.
They're all horrible. Horrible.
And the fact that this team, with a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter, shutting another team out for the entire game, is even in a discussion like this makes me sick to my stomach. Charles?
To answer the poll question, can I amend one of the choices? Because if
You amend whatever you want.
if
buddy.
I'm going off of those three, I'll probably go Cowboys, terrible clock management. But if I'm going to go with what was the most egregious out of all those games, I'm going to say that the freaking defense giving up 21 points in the fourth quarter. There are so many things wrong with what they did in the fourth quarter. And it sucks because they played really well for 3 straight quarters. They were doing really well. Jim Schwartz was coaching a great game plan. We were shutting down the Panthers completely. Completely. They couldn't do anything. And then for some reason, he decides to switch it up.
I don't know where the time was, but in the we were into the second quarter, and I think the numbers were around 1 for 6 for 17 or whatever, 20 passing yards, whatever it was.
It was bad
for Cam.
Yeah, it was bad for Cam.
And by the end of the game, he had 113 point whatever passer rating because he just obliterated this defense in that fourth quarter.
Yeah,
cut them up completely.
Yeah. It was scheme. It was players not playing well. I mean, on the defensive line for most of the game played well. But the thing is, here's what I was talking about in the offseason, they got tired. Guys, they got tired. We are thin at the defensive line now, especially on the interior.
Yeah.
And did I not mention that months ago and saying interior line depth is a concern? Well, look what's happening. We're getting tired. We can't rotate like we once did. And when your defense is predicated so much on the front four getting pressure and they can't do that, well, look what happens. It exposes the bad secondary. You have Ronald Darby, who you guys know I am high on Ronald Darby, but in no way am I giving him an excuse or a pass for that god-awful bite on a double move to, who was that, Devin Funchess, for that second touchdown? Why are you biting on a slant route when you're supposed to be playing off and protecting the end zone? You're biting on a slant route? That's just very low football IQ. And then there's just so many other things like Jalen Mills, 4th and 10, fourth quarter, late. We are about to come away with this win. What does he do? He lets Torrey Smith absolutely abuse him. Torrey Smith on a route breaks his ankles to get open.
Smith.
And not only that, Torrey Smith, after the catch, makes Mills stumble, fall again on the tackle attempt.
Well, I mean, that's not that impressive, but
what is the MO that Mills defenders always put out there?
Mills bites on everything.
That Mills is a good tackler.
Right.
Well, it wasn't there.
No.
Because of that missed tackle, that gave the Carolina Panthers even more life. Because after everything in the fourth quarter that happened, Panthers coming back, scoring 2 touchdowns, our offense being absolutely just anemic. We had them. 3 plays, nothing. It was 4th and 10. 1 more play, and Mills had to go and do that. Like, to me, it's the secondary and it's Jim Schwartz. It's the whole defense giving up 21 points in the fourth quarter to lose that lead. And everyone's going to say, but the offense couldn't put up more than 17 points. Well, at the same time, that's over what? They put up 17 points, but the thing is the defense, in just 1 quarter when you have the lead, they give up 21.
Right,
Sorry.
but let me add to this before we get to Ryan. A couple Facebook comments, and then I'm going to respond because I have a counter to what you said there.
Uh-huh.
Kyle Meager says Eli Manning attempting 2 quarterback sneaks by far.
Which was funny as hell.
And it was pretty funny. I do have a response with that one. Rob Brinkman says we need more points, get more offense. Howie, where's Nelson Aguilar? He's been disappearing. Frank Vespi says, "Hey yo, sorry to bother you at work. Has to be the one run play." Dion, I'm gonna try to see if I can get your comment to expand after a few minutes. Rob Brinkman says he can't play zone prevent when they're suited to play press man. Schwartz getting a bad rap this week. His players need to execute way, way, way better. So let me say this.
Who said the zone, the prevent thing?
Brinkman.
Brinkman? You're wrong. We didn't play prevent. This is what kind of annoys me too.
Well,
is after that game, everyone's like, you can't play prevent defense. Why are they playing prevent defense? They didn't play prevent defense. Know what a scheme is. A prevent defense is when you send everyone back in a zone like 10 yards back. Everyone. You're talking about everyone. We did not play that. We were playing man, a mix of man, majority man, some zone, but we were still playing off coverage, man, cover one. That was mainly what we were playing. Mm-hmm. We weren't playing prevent. They were playing off, giving them 8 to 10 yards. So get it right. That's another annoying thing. They're not playing prevent. And don't come at me with, they have to blitz more. No, they don't. Blitzing is what we give up most big plays on. Blitzing is not the answer. So shut up about both of them.
Let them know it. Just get it out.
So this is why
people don't know what the fuck they're talking
about.
All right,
so this is why I'm going to say it's not the Giants. And I think under a normal circumstance, you would definitely be scratching your head on this. The reason I'm saying it's not the Giants overall, and we've talked about this, never thought I'd see a Giants team that has all their players back and is worse off than they were with Ben McAdoo as their head coach. That being said, the Giants, to me, now are in a position to where they need to make something happen. They are in the cellar in this division. They're not totally out of this division, but they need to do something to try to create some kind of life in this team. So they're going to be taking risks. So to me, there's more of an excuse or a reason to see them, whether it's a stupid risk or not, because it's one of those things where you succeed, you fail, you're a dud. But of all of these, it's the most excusable to me. When I look at the Eagles and what you had said earlier, where you talked about, and you're absolutely right, I think the defense got worn down in that fourth quarter, particularly. But part of the problem is because of the offense, because the poor clock management of not running the football, and by constantly passing the football, they were on the field and off the field constantly. And all you saw was Carolina completely take over the game in the fourth quarter and do nothing but go up and down the field, kick it off to the Eagles. It's done. Back over to Carolina, march right back down the field, and just wear down an already thin defensive unit. So I think there is a lot of accountability on the offense, maybe even just as much. And I give Carson a lot of pass on things. I felt like he killed us with that last drive. It was not his best. His decision making was poor.
Thank you.
He was
Thank you.
was looking for the big play when all he had to do was throw it to the sticks. He had men wide open.
Yeah.
At the sticks to get the first downs.
He did. Yeah, he did. He missed that.
He missed it. And listen, it can't go unnoticed and it can't go unsaid. We love Carson. Has the potential to be a true generational talent, a top, if not 1, 2, or 3 of his generation going forward for the next 10 years. But you have to call a spade a spade. He has to have people who are going to hold him accountable so he can learn from them.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers made a lot of mistakes his first couple of years when he was in the league. And he learned from them over time. We can't just let this thing pass. And that's where I do think people overreact because they talk about, is Carson Wentz clutch? Because I think they said he's like 1-7 in
Oh, stop. That was
right. I'm not going to get deep into it, but
yeah.
It was like a stat of like 1-7 when it comes down to game-winning drives. I don't know the exact numbers, but I do know that Aaron Rodgers' numbers his first few years were worse. So
yeah,
that's not anything to panic about. That'll come along. They'll learn. But that being said, I can't say there's more on the defense because the offense did them absolutely zero favors in that fourth quarter.
They are to blame too. Let me get this. Let me make my point clear. The whole team pretty much is to blame. Outside of maybe a couple guys, a couple players, the whole team is to damn blame. I have more concern about the defense and Jim Schwartz. But the thing is, that offense, that's still the fact that we only ran the ball once, and that was with Smallwood when we were already losing. Like, in that fourth quarter, we didn't run the ball at all until we were losing. It does not make sense. I'm all for passing and being aggressive, but two things: the passes that we were doing, that we were calling, they weren't aggressive passes. What's with all the screens? Like, don't stop throwing behind the line of scrimmage so much. Throw downfield. That you want to be aggressive with passing. Pass downfield. Get first downs. And then two.
That just seemed very, very Andy-esque.
Andy-esque, Chip Kelly-esque, right?
Of poor clock management in the fourth quarter, and it's very out of character for Doug Peterson to this point to allow that to go. Now, whether he was making the play calls or the coordinator's making the play calls or Carson's making the play calls, he needs to take the reins. If he's not making those calls in that situation and he's seen how this game's going, he's got to say, step aside, I got this, or this is what we need to be doing. You need to figure it out and get it there. There's a lot of accountability that needs to be passed around. There's no excuse for the way that game unfolded in that fourth quarter.
Yeah,
I haven't been this mad. I don't know that I've ever been this mad at a single game. And I truly mean that.
It's a lot to take. These losses get worse and worse.
Thank God I was sick a little bit on Sunday and didn't have the energy to want to throw my remote at the TV. The desire was there, but the will to do it wasn't.
You can't not run the ball a little bit. I don't mind the passing.
I don't care if they would have ran the ball fucking 6 times.
Yeah.
And threw the ball 11.
Run it a little bit. Run it a little bit. And that does harken to the fact that we do need a running back. Of course we need a running back. That's definitely one of the needs. But it's just not that. There's so many other things. And to your point about the Carson thing, people need to stop defending that play. Okay? I've heard it all. I've heard one guy said, I'm not going to call out his name, but one guy said, Smallwood dropped a pass in the flat 2 weeks ago. Why would Wentz throw it to Smallwood when he's wide open? I would have rather passed the ball to Jeffrey even though he's double covered. Pass it to Jeffrey in the end zone because that's the guy that Wentz trusts. Are you an idiot? No, you don't do that. He's wide open. So anyone that's ever dropped a pass in the entire world, we should never, ever throw them a wide open pass to pick up the first down. That's idiotic logic. That's so stupid. Just stop defending that play. The play call was fine, okay? People are slamming Doug Peterson for not running it there. Well, I'm sorry. Doug Peterson wants to put the ball in the hands of their best player. There's nothing wrong with that. The onus is on Wentz to make the correct read and stop playing hero ball. You can't win the game on every single throw. Alshon Jeffrey is double covered. And then one other person wants to say that, Alshon got interfered with. That should have been a touchdown. No, he didn't for one. And second,
he turned into a defender.
The ball placement was horrible. It went right to the defender.
Yeah, that was.
So don't even defend that.
He didn't even have a shot at that.
He didn't have a shot. You have to play smart and live to play another down. Get the first down, Carson.
On that play, what happened was the ball was thrown in front of the defender, but because there was 2 defenders there, he couldn't get over top of the one to try to defend the other.
Yes.
And he just dropped the ball. There was nothing, even a sniff of interference on that play.
None. And
that was a poorly placed ball in a situation where it should have never been thrown there to begin with.
And to clarify, just because we're critical of Carson Wentz's one mistake there does not mean we're putting blame on him for the loss. No. There's a difference. Okay, Wentz is still our guy. We still believe Wentz had a good game.
I ain't worried about if people are going to say that because they're not. We've already kind of emphasized it is a chain of events that have happened in a very short period, essentially a 1-quarter period. The offense did not properly manage the clock. It kept a thin defense on the field who they wore down. They missed assignments. They didn't tackle. It was
a bunch of stuff.
There's a lot there. And then that final drive, Carson missed passes, missed open men that should have been completed for longer yardage or first downs. I think Dion said in here, everybody's to blame
Everyone.
for this.
Yep.
There's nobody that gets off on this.
Can I ask you guys a question?
No.
Okay. No. Okay.
Yes,
I don't
you
know. Go ahead, try.
It's
So
not it's
mad.
not a good answer, but I'll ask it. I'll ask the people as well.
By the way, I don't even think I said this. Ryan Brodo on the ones and twos.
Hey,
Brodo's
gentlemen.
it's
here.
okay.
And Chrome and Chucks
It's
are
one of
with
those
you. I
weeks.
just
It's
got
fine.
right into it.
It's okay. How many points did we score in the first half, guys?
10. Should have been 20, but 10.
10. Is that going to get it done?
No. It's not
Okay.
going to get it done.
Were we home or away?
Home.
So let me get this straight. Let me put 2 and 2 together. We scored 10 points at home against a team that was, for most case scenario, dead. Dead.
Yes.
They were dead. On both sides of the ball, they were dead. We were dominating them. 10 points. Okay, cool. I understand why we point to the fourth quarter because, yes, out of every quarter, that is the main blame because we gave up 21 unanswered points to the team that was dead. I get it. But if you consistently and all season, for the most part, again, except for an embarrassing Giants team that we went up against, we have done nothing in the first half. We have put up no points compared to what we used to.
Yeah. Truth.
In this day and age to where it's offense first, the league now with all these defensive penalties, it's built for the offense to be easier to where if you look at the point average around the league, it's gone up every single week, and we're scoring less points. That's not going to get it done. The fact that you put up a total of 17 points at home with your starting quarterback, and I, like you guys, do not blame Carson Wentz alone for the loss. Absolutely not. We all have to understand, and we get this. The people at home, most of them get this, but for the small
I hope.
community that don't get it, you have to remember that Carson Wentz, number one, if you didn't already know, now you know, he had a major injury he just came back from. 2, this man had no preseason, had no training camp. So he's going to come along, especially with the decision-making, a little bit slower than everyone else. Now, is that a pass? No, but it's a factor. Okay, so remember that, ladies and gentlemen, before you slide in our DMs telling us, oh, my God, this might not be the guy. Where's Foles? Shut up.
Shut up, please.
Shut up. Know your role. Shut your mouth, please. Thank you. It's irritating. There's so many things. And I'll just add this to you, okay? I'll say this before we go back to the family.
Yeah,
Isn't it ironic that the team that we played on Sunday, the Carolina Panthers, if you go back to last season, in my opinion, and this doesn't go for everyone, when we played the Panthers last season, I came on, and the win over the Panthers last season proved to me, and it caused me to come on the air and say they are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That same team,
That was the game.
and that same game this season has caused me to come on and say right now that we are not going to the Super Bowl.
I would agree.
Isn't that ironic?
I would agree.
So I
Absolutely.
figured I'd
Yeah,
add
things
that little
change.
tidbit. And if you guys at home disagree, then tell me why, because I'd love to hear it. And I won't call you idiotic, but I would love to hear it.
Dion says, what's going on, fellas? And
Hey,
Dion,
Dion.
I apologize. Not all the full comments are loading because Zuck. That's all I got to say. Dion Brown says, what's going on, fellas? What's up, Dion?
Hey, Dion.
These fourth quarter collapses cannot continue, especially with the injuries and the lack of running game. I can't read the rest of it, buddy. I'm sorry. Brinkman
it
says they play.
I can read it.
Oh, God.
It says Doug can say players have to execute. I agree, but coaching has to coach right, especially late in games.
And Doug can't come out of that game and say the pressure's
Oh
off.
yeah, please stop.
I'm not going to get into a crazy thing about that because that in its own self, everybody knows how asinine that is.
Yep.
Or egregious is the word we always use on this show.
Yeah.
But you can't come out and say that. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I think I would say,
I'm pretty sure when he got back, that's probably one of those statements an hour or two later he said, I wish I could backpedal off of that one.
What he was trying to say, and just said it in a horrible way, was that there's no more talk about hey, we are the favorites, we are Super Bowl contenders. No, that's out the window. Right now the talk is let's win a game. Let's get back into this. Let's try to win a damn game. I think that's what he meant, but he had the most horrible use of words.
Oh, yeah.
You want to see Chuck so crazy again?
Oh, God.
Was it
Look what we just put in the real talk.
where? How would you guys feel? Oh, my God. Ralphie, I swear to God.
Read it to the people. Just read it to the people.
Ralphie, that
If you're
crumb,
not, if you're
that
not in
Laker
the, if you're
crumb.
not, hold on. If you're not in the Real Talk group, this is a post in the Real Talk group. So
Yes,
this is
sir.
kind of the kind of stuff you get in the Real Talk group.
Ralphie, that Laker crumb, says, how would you guys feel about Kelvin Benjamin? You know how I feel about Kelvin Benjamin? I'll walk out this door if we get Kelvin freaking Benjamin saying no to wanting to do practice reps before the game with his damn quarterback and eating like 5 meals a day to get a fat belly so that he can't run a route.
What do you call him, Fat Kelvin?
Fat Kelvin Benjamin. No, I do not want Kelvin Benjamin, Ralphie.
All right, Rob Brinkman continued. You can't play zone. We already did that. Hold on. He says
Yeah, we did that one.
he said that they played zone the whole time. These D-backs.
Oh, bullshit.
All right.
Oh, what am I watching?
These D-backs lose track of their man in the zone all the time. I agree with that. Even in the zone, they
Oh,
do
yeah,
lose
yeah.
track of their man
When
in
they
the
do
zone.
play zone, yes.
Michael Sabo says, "What's up, fellas?
Hey.
Fellas,
What's up?
as far as Howie making a trade, who do you think are real possibilities, and when do you think this will go down?" Patrick Peterson, I do think, is a real possibility and makes sense. I'm on the fence with what I think. There at this point, it's got to be very specific. And we were talking to Paulie, who was a former contributor here with NBC Sports earlier in Philly. And I think the overall consensus was, if you're going to make a deal at this point, it's got to be something that goes beyond this year. I know a lot of reports are coming out. Le'Veon's going to be off the table anyway. Sounds like he doesn't want to move because he's worried about his value now. Taking
now
a hit
you are.
because he has to learn a new offense. Well, he wants to play it out with the Steelers and build up his value for next year. Whatever. That's fine. I didn't think we were really going to get him at this point anyway. But if I'm looking at somebody that makes sense, that might be available, well, definitely is available. You know, we heard it was us and the Saints for Patrick Peterson. The Saints now have gone out. They've made their move already in going out and getting Eli Apple.
Yes.
Which
Thank God.
I'm praying and hoping that maybe that's an indication that we may be in the forefront for Patrick Peterson now. That would be a huge upgrade. Because I think the point that maybe you made is it's not about, beating these teams that we have struggled with a little bit lately. When you look at the value, and why I agree now with you that a defensive back may be the most dire need for this team, is because of what you had said, I think, earlier, the Rams. When you start hitting those teams, when you see Minnesota again and these teams that have good wide receiving cores, you need a playmaker. You need a difference maker in that secondary.
Yes.
And the fact that we're so thin at safety now, to me, is going to be more of an emphasis that we need to get some sort of a defensive back that can change the game.
Yes.
I'll give you a name. What about Janoris Jenkins?
No. Contract. Not that he's bad. Just look at that monster of a contract.
Yeah. See,
That is
Not that we want it, but I'm just saying possibility. So you would say it's not a possibility because of the contract?
No. In terms of like,
I wouldn't love it.
would
no.
they inquire
Yeah,
about him?
yeah.
No, they would probably inquire about him. The
Okay.
Giants are like they're a dumpster fire
Yep.
waiting to happen. I would imagine they're inquiring about him, but I just don't think. Again, it's similar to Le'Veon Bell in the fact that talent-wise it will be great. Financially wise, it just doesn't. You can't take on that.
If I'm the Eagles right now, you'd like a wide receiver, but I don't love all the options that are out there for what the demand is for these guys and what's being asked. I'm looking at Patrick Peterson and LeGarrette Blount as your two options. Bring Blount in, solidify that run game again. Hopefully, we get Sproles back at some point and solidify that run game. And then, obviously, take care of a lot of your issues in the secondary with a guy who can be back there and be a leader. And I feel like that will better position us to kind of start to right the ship a little bit. And obviously, we need to get healthy, too.
I would say I'm going to ride with the two guys I've been consistent with. The two guys I've said I don't love the moves, but I can absolutely see it happening. I think I'm actually more confident it happens now. Devontae Parker and Amir Abdullah. I don't love it, but if someone's asking us what we think will happen,
I'll take either of the Detroit running backs, honestly. If
yeah,
we get
they have
Abdullah,
four
too,
of them. Yeah, they have
if
four.
we don't get LeGarrette Blount and it's Abdullah, I'm down with that, too. I agree with you. I think he's a fit here.
Yeah. And it's not going to cost us anything crazy. I think what Howie's going to try and do, and it's Band-Aids, and I don't love it, and the fan base isn't going to love it. It's not going to save our season.
They're not going to love it.
At least on paper. But I think because the Eagles have so many projected later round picks. They have 11 picks. Most of them are later. It's not like we have 5 second-round picks. We don't. I think they're going to start using those and acquiring these Band-Aids because right now, if you can't get somebody flashy, like for me, I don't think we're going to get Patrick Peterson. I don't because I think the asking price is going to be too much, and I honestly don't believe that the Cardinals really want to get rid of him. I know he asked for a trade, but I think they're kind of stuck.
I don't think we're going to get anybody.
Well, then Howie knows that we have no chance this season.
I don't think that we're going to get anybody.
Don't tell me that, Crone.
I'm sorry, but that's just the feeling I'm starting to get.
Well, it was reported. It was rumored on Twitter that right now with the Saints out of it, the Eagles, Chiefs, and Steelers are the most aggressive in pursuit of Peterson, and Philly has been noted to make the best offer of the 3 so far.
And what would that be, like a second-round pick?
I don't know.
I'd give him a second-round pick for him.
I would give up a second-round pick.
He's controlled through, was it 2020?
2020.
I'll give up a second-round pick for him.
His contract is friendly because his last year of his contract, for one, it's structured so that you can cut him before that last year.
Yep.
But if you keep him there for the final year, it's the final year before Wentz's contract comes in.
By the way, not to take it away from the Eagles, I'll bring up a name you brought up a few moments ago. With Sony Michel being out, and I don't think he's out for the season, but he's out for an extended period of time.
For an extended period of time, yeah.
Don't be surprised if LeGarrette Blount gets traded there.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
we can all see it.
See that.
Every team that this guy's pretty much played for, or successful teams, which is the Eagles and the Patriots, have loved this guy. There's a reason the Patriots had never batted an eye to bring this guy back before. Yep. And I don't think it's an aberration that he's a name that's been floated out there with the Eagles. I do think that he's an option that they're looking at. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's probably the number one option for them. They're looking into other things first. But if they can grab him, and they could get him cheap.
Oh, you 7th-round pick.
100%. I think that they'll get that done.
And they ran with him and James White in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know LeGarrette Blount was way better 2 years ago than he is now. There's not as much wear and tear. But if you want to talk about a team that we know the Patriots are contenders, the guy knows the system.
Yep.
Of course.
Let me see.
Yeah, where do we leave off?
Rob says, when a guy sits down on a drag route in between 2 guys and no one clamps down on them, it's a huge problem. Agree with that. Dion says, guys, 2 more losses and we can kiss the playoffs goodnight.
One more loss, Dion.
Yeah. I don't know about 1 more loss.
This week?
It's a pretty shitty division, but they're going to really – I agree with Dion. 2 more. The only thing that's sort of helping is the NFC East is any team's division if we exclude New York. Is that who he said, New York? It kind of cut off.
Yeah, it's got to be New York.
Yeah.
Keeps cutting shit off on me. Jim Kilchrist says, Eagles got to run the ball. You got to. Brinkman says, people blaming Carson are idiots. He did make 2 big mistakes after the pass interference call. Agree with you. I mean, you can't not call out the mistakes. We can't pick our favorites here.
Exactly.
We got to be objective to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Dion says Carson has to be better. Stop trying to do too much. Take his time. Go through your progressions and deliver a catchable ball. And he says, # shout out to Brodo on the 1s and 2s.
Who said that?
Dion.
Oh, hey, Dion.
Rob Povia says, not sure if it's a decision, but Cowboys getting a 5-yard penalty before potential game-tying field goal, only to see it hit the upright. They blow more games than Mia Khalifa. I like it, Rob. Very nice. That's a great comment, Rob.
That was good.
Pellatora Pinga says Jalen Mills is not on the trade block.
Newsflash.
No,
he has no value.
Deion Brown says Jacksonville game could get very ugly in a different country, different air, lack of time to practice, but I'll still say Eagles 18.
Different air.
Jags 10. I'll
London
take it.
air.
Well, is it thinner air? I don't know.
I don't know.
I was over there. I didn't notice the difference. It was very nice.
I'll take it. Go into the bye week.
More fog? London fog?
No, it was very sunny. It was about 62 degrees. No
Yeah.
complaints. I'll take
He
it.
continues. Supposedly, Eagles have reached out to Denver about 3 players, 2
Yeah.
being Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. I heard that as well.
See, can I touch on that real quick? I don't like any of them.
I don't either.
Because if you go there, you're thinking you're one player away. We're about 6 players away.
Yeah, we got more needs, and they're gonna. I think the price on them is gonna be pretty high.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to get Demaryius Thomas.
I don't want. Okay, one, I don't want Demaryius Thomas
No.
because he's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
2, Sanders, I would probably be a great addition, but the price tag, like you said,
He's the
is
highest
going
price.
To be too high.
Yes.
Yes.
James Edgefield says Peterson said that he wanted to go to a contender. Do you think he's looking at the Eagles and saying, "I don't want to go there because of I can't read the rest of his
Because of what's happening? No,
No.
because I think that
he could
feels,
be a difference maker.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. If he feels that if he comes here, he can make a difference to catapult us.
And
to
I
be
think,
contender.
and the thing is too, it's not just about this season. He's a guy that wherever he goes, conceivably could be there 2019 and 2020 if the
Yeah.
team picks up his option. So you have a chance to go to a team that's led by a Carson Wentz who's continuing to grow and progress.
Yep.
I absolutely think that there's an appeal here, especially knowing when healthy, which would be next year, you have a young defensive line that's going to continue to force the quarterback to make quick decisions, which is going to make your job easier in the secondary. Yes.
Sweeps.
Yeah.
He's got a lot
Sweepsy.
today. He's actually still typing right now, so it's going to be a long one. So get
Ooh.
your popcorn ready.
I'll
Get your
continue.
pop-
I'll keep
get your
when you let me
popcorn
know
ready.
when he pops it in. James Edgefield, Blunt is hurt right now. Eric Tomalonis, I apologize if I said that wrong. He says Pat Peterson now. Later picks are gold. Okay.
All right, he's here.
Sweepsy's ready.
He's here. Okay.
Yay.
So he says, "What's up, my pimps? 3 of my favorite dudes of all time.
What
Let's go."
up?
He
We
says,
love Sweepsy.
He says everyone is accountable for what's going on
Yep.
on offense. They've been outcoached all year. Defense is soft. They are not Super Bowl contenders at this point. Is the season over? Hell no. But chances of fixing all of your problems in week 8 or 9 is unlikely.
Yep.
So then you are what you are. You got to score in this league, of course. But if you think you're a top 10 defense for whatever reason, then you do not blow leads in Tennessee and on Sunday.
Yep.
He says, then you're 5-2. Sky isn't falling. I'm guessing if we win both of those games.
Yep.
And then Chucks, he says, you're high. Defensive tackle is still a stud. Or no, DT is still a stud.
talking
Has
about
had a
depth.
quarterback since Peyton. Hasn't had a quarterback since Peyton left. Then he says DT with 11 would be scary. So with Carson. So he's blaming it more on Demaryius Thomas's kind of lack of anything has been because of the quarterback.
See, Sweeps, I respect that. He would be better here than Denver, but I've seen Demaryius Thomas dating back to last season have too many drops, and this season have too many lazy plays where he just gives up on the route inexplicably. So I see Demaryius Thomas that isn't trying, that isn't the same type of receiver, because he was an explosive wide receiver with great size before. I don't see the same explosiveness. I see a guy that's still struggling with too many drops, and there's a reason why Emmanuel Sanders has eclipsed him as the best wide receiver in Denver. So for the right price, I wouldn't mind Demaryius Thomas, but I mean, if you're considering like the asking price that Denver's probably going to want for him, I think it's going to be too high. That's why I say no to Demaryius Thomas. But I love you, Sweeps. That's a good argument that you do make.
That's all for Sweeps, at least for now.
Thank you, Sweepsy. I love Sweeps.
He's awesome.
I'm pretty sure.
If
Sweeps,
he's got more.
Side note: I'm pretty sure Sweeps is on my side when I say that this World Series is like the worst fucking nightmare for me.
it's a bad
The only
week.
thing that's worse is if the Cubs would be in it. I hate the Dodgers and the Red Sox. I mean, I hate them. That's all I got with that. I just had to get that
I
off
don't
my
even want to
chest
get
as
into it.
Sweepsy's here.
I
Oh
don't even
my
want to
God.
get into it.
I commented on YouTube
Mhm.
because Roscoe said something about the World Series. I was like, wait, baseball's still going on?
Not in this city, Rosca.
Michael
Damn
Sabo
it.
says, you really think we can get Blunt back? I'd love to have that as well. I agree 100%. It hurt a lot losing him, and he wanted $1 more million. Here's what I'm going to say about LeGarrette Blunt. I love Darren Sproles. But you talk about a guy stealing money at this point. He was
not
hurt.
a lot of money.
But
Not
it's
a
the
lot.
difference in bringing LeGarrette Blount back, who I believe would have made a much bigger impact with this running core than we have with no factor in Darren Sproles.
That's debatable. I'm not going to debate you too much against that, but that is debatable.
Now, I usually save this for Thursdays, but I'll say it now. What if?
What if?
That's my go-to thing on Thursdays. Joe.
Oh, okay.
Ryan always surprises us with a
With a what if.
What if? What if? And this is just taking something out of left field. I'm not saying it's going to happen. What if they cut Sproles, traded Foles? Oh, that rhymed. And then that would free them up to go out and get more crazy with their trades, because obviously there's more money freed up.
If they could find anybody that would take Nick Foles at this point,
Ooh, I have one.
Are you going to say it?
You
Are
might
you going to
think-
say it?
you
Are
might
you going to talk about it
think
right
but
now?
I bet they won't take him. Are you going to tell me the Giants?
Well, that's one of them.
No,
Okay.
they're not going to take it.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't know that they would.
Then shame on them. Did they see what he did in the Super Bowl?
Who got
Listen,
benched?
they screwed themselves.
Who got benched? Who got benched on Sunday?
Blake Bortles.
But he's been announced as the starter for Sunday. So
yeah, I
we're
know.
just going right back to it.
Well, because of, you know why? Because the other guy they have is Cody Kessler. That's why.
I don't know. I might roll the dice with Cody at this
Well,
point.
I would love it.
I
Listen,
think after the bye they are. I'm putting my opinion out there. I really think after the bye they're going with Cody Kessler.
you know what they're probably thinking, Crumb? The reason why they named Bortles the starter, they're probably like, oh, we saw that Eagles game. We could score against them. I mean, they gave up 21 points at home to Cam freaking Newton.
There's no way he could be that
Blake
bad
Bortles,
against them.
we could just get him ready like it was in the AFC Championship
There
game
you
last
go,
year. Oh, my
yeah.
God, we're going to win by 40 points because it's
That's
the
exactly
Eagles.
that's exactly what they're
Even
Oh, it's so sad.
them in their top 10 defense.
Because it's not like before where we had a
even out
freaking.
with that, even without a Leonard Fournette too.
I know. With freaking Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde,
Uh,
who I told you boys was going to get replaced by Nick Chubb before Week 10.
You
It
want me to
only
be honest,
took
though?
7 weeks, baby.
You want me to be honest?
I'm all in on Chubb this year. That was
yeah.
I picked him up in 2 leagues.
he
so
was
yeah.
in every league. He was my last round draft pick.
I might need him in mine. I'll name you like a serious quarterback no one's really talking about that I could see getting traded to Jacksonville if they win this week. Like if they win, which good God, if that happens,
Let's see if
we're
I'm
not
thinking-
going to
No.
be okay.
Let's see if I'm thinking the same.
I will
that you
say
are.
they are definitely in. If they can get a quarterback, Jacksonville's in. What we know is that they are absolutely not in on Eli. I read that today. They have zero interest in Eli. At this
Chucks,
point.
which quarterback do you think I'm
No,
saying?
you say first.
Tyrod Taylor.
No, okay, that wasn't what I'm thinking, but it's around
If-
the same
No,
realm.
you tell me.
It's
No,
around
no,
the
you
same
tell
realm.
me.
You
You
tell
tell
me.
me.
You hang up
You go
first.
first.
You hang up first.
Did you hang up? Did you?
Okay, never mind. Let's keep talking.
No, I'm in the same kind of ballpark.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Derek Carr.
No, actually,
Okay.
no. No.
He's not. I don't think he's getting.
No.
moved
Did you
now,
see the
though.
tweet today?
They,
Yeah, I saw
He's
it.
not getting traded until the offseason.
but it's weird. It's very conflicting because Gruden said that they're not making any moves, but the general manager said we still have a week to go.
Well, that means they have no idea what they're doing. And that's, you know what that is, Grum? That's the Oakland Raiders.
That's
That's
the
no
Oakland Raiders,
communication.
right.
That's John Gruden's looking Raiders.
Who's the
But
quarterback?
the guy, I was thinking trade for RG3.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like
it makes
that.
sense.
I like that.
He's not being used.
Am I wrong for kind of like, not that he wasn't a Redskin, I'm kind of like pulling for this guy to
I
get
like him.
another shot
You're
in the
not
league?
wrong.
I've always liked
He
Oakland.
wasn't bad.
I
He
like
wasn't bad this preseason. He really wasn't bad.
I feel like he's actually a pretty intelligent quarterback. And I remember when he got drafted, Gruden and they had done some different things on NFL Network to test his knowledge. And he was super smart.
Yeah.
And he really read plays really well. I just don't know if the style that he had, he was clearly wasn't going to last durability-wise.
Yes.
So I liked what I saw, and he's one of those guys, I don't know why, but I kind of just would like to have seen him get another shot.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what it is, and it's justified, but it's not at the same
Right.
time. Like what he did when he was with Washington, his ego got the best of him. But listen, when you're on every single Subway commercial when you're 20 years old, can you really blame him? No.
Yeah.
So
I don't know that it was an ego, but there's a lot.
Oh.
There was a lot of there was a lot of distraction there for a kid that I don't know was quite ready for all that.
the reason why, well, and maybe ego's not the correct word, but I'll go back to
Maybe a little more immaturity than you thought.
Yes and no, but like we had similar conversation. I don't know if it was on this show, but over the offseason when Carson Wentz was rehabbing, we kept bringing up, oh, we got to make sure he's not RG3.
I was on.
It was
yeah.
It was the passion that he wanted to be
Right.
the guy and he wanted to be a hero, which ended up screwing his career up. Also, the
fair
thing
point.
that made it even worse was that he was so good, and then in that organization I don't care if they're 4-2, the organization stinks. I mean, there is no trust factor in that organization. They're kind of like an Oakland Raiders light. Right. They're not as disastrous, but they're never sustainable in that organization. So it's not like he was with the Patriots or with Green Bay or anything where it's sustainable. Then he goes, to all places, to the freaking Cleveland Browns, where he has no help, no organizational help, and he got hurt again. And then we haven't seen him since.
Right.
So the only two spots he's gotten a chance with, and I understand it's two chances, which many people in this world have never gotten in the NFL. It's with the Redskins, who he took his rookie year
Right.
to the playoffs, and then he went to the freaking Browns.
In the middle of the shitstorm with the Browns too. That wasn't like, oh, the Browns are on the rise.
That was their lowest point.
That was where they were hitting rock bottom at that point.
That was rookie year for Hugh Jackson. That was his first year there.
Right.
So, listen, RG3 is definitely not the best quarterback in this league, and he's not I wouldn't even call him a top 20 starting quarterback at all. But if you want to talk about somebody that could help a team in desperation, just to give him a shot, put him on the depth chart.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, we put Donnell Pumphrey on the depth chart for us. You know what I'm saying?
He's on the practice squad.
Or you understand what I'm saying, though? We signed Donnell Pumphrey. You're telling me that the Jaguars don't want to give a shot to RG3?
Well, they are also the team that gave Bortles a new contract.
I thought
the
so,
decision-making is not the best.
Yeah.
They asked for this.
And here I thought we were done with Donnell Pumphrey, and here
Apparently
he comes
not.
walking back into the Novacare
I'll tell you what,
Center.
if I see him on this field, let me just tell you what.
The season's
Then we're done.
The
Wait,
season
then we're
is
done.
Yeah, you seeing him on this field means that he's actually going to be healthy enough to get on the field.
No,
He's
but
got to be healthy enough.
But you know what that also means? That means there's a spot for him, which means there's another injury, Chucks. I can't deal with this again.
James Edgefield says, what about Johnson from the Cards? Low risk, high reward.
Not happening.
Nope.
Not going to happen. He's going to cost a ton of to get. I think it's a pretty friendly contract.
It is.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
But
I think
it
we
is
covered
going to
it too,
cost
so-
a
He's
ton
untouchable. He's
to
untouchable.
pull him out. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I know that there's been struggles this year. I think that has to do with how atrocious overall the team is, and one man can't.
But it's not
Can't be
David
that
Johnson's
difference.
fault.
It's not his fault, and I think it's hurting his value, like fantasy football wise. But people know what kind of back this guy is.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to cost an arm and a leg. He would be at least a first-round pick to get him.
At least.
At least a first-round pick.
Probably more.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to me, he would probably cost more than Le'Veon would have earlier in the season for the simple fact that he is signed to such a team-friendly contract, and he's still a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love him.
Oh, I would
Charles
too.
will vouch. I am the biggest David Johnson fan for not being an Arizona fan that there is. I would shit myself on the air right here on this couch, and then I'd scrub it with
You
cleaner
want to show it'll happen
if we got
trade for-
David Johnson, but I can promise you it ain't happening. But would that be a difference maker for us? Sure. Yeah, that's
Oh,
right. I
yeah,
went right
yeah.
to the I'm going to shit myself on the couch. Absolutely. Eric Tomalonis again says if we get Patrick Peterson, immediate help.
Yep.
Rob Brinkman says a running back fixes a lot of the team's problems. I don't disagree. I just don't know if it's the most important. It's going to fix offense, some of the issues on offense.
It's a need. It's
It is
definitely a need.
It is
Definitely.
100%. It's a
100%
big need.
Yes.
I just think the secondary is the
What happened? What happened?
No,
Breaking
it's
news?
it's no.
Oh
it's
my
not.
gosh!
Calm
I was like, breaking
down.
news. Trade.
No, you would have heard me screech like a little girl if I did. Eagles and Patriots are among teams interested in Janoris Jenkins.
Oh dear Lord. That's not going to be good.
Way to taint
for
it, Ryan.
I'm
finances.
sorry. I didn't mean to say it out loud.
Go to the Patriots. I don't want to do that contract.
I shouldn't have said anything. Damn it, why do I keep doing these things?
Eric also said I pronounce his name perfect. People in my hometown can't do that. So, dude gets a star. Nice. I'll take a star.
Nice.
Dion says Blunt wanted to return to the Eagles, but they felt otherwise. Eric says game plan, Pat Peterson and Blunt now. I'm with that. That's what I want. Dion says, yes, Dodgers versus Red Sox. Yawn, LOL. Yeah, fuck them.
Apparently.
Tom, hold on. I'm going to run these last couple down. Tom says Eagles blowing a 17-point lead. What's up, boys? What's up, Godfather?
Yes, Tom. We're in agreement.
Eric says, be serious. Nothing but live for Sproulsy and JP, but done. Or nothing but love for Sproulsy and JP, but they're done.
Yep.
Agreed. In hindsight, we probably should have never bought Sproles back.
Well,
Eric
Peter.
says Gruden is a joker. That's where we're at there. Caught up on the Facebook, finally.
Gary Conley.
He's available.
Well,
yeah.
the Eagles are inquiring about him and
I
Janoris.
can imagine, yeah. Well, the Raiders are pretty much selling everyone. They're literally cleaning house.
So you would rather, out of those two, you'd rather have.
Because Garion's still on his rookie contract.
Oh, how did we get here, Chucks? How did we get here?
I don't know, Brady. I don't know, Brodo.
What do you want, Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Jason Lockenfora.
Well, at the same time, Lockenfora does make up a lot of crap. So
No, he's usually a pretty reliable source.
Lockenfora? Silence.
Sorry, now he's got me interested in pulling up whatever's being put out there. Eagles trade. Let's see. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so that's where we're at with that.
Let me ask you this, okay? We put out a question on our social medias yesterday.
Yeah.
And this is a very, situational question, but which is what we put out yesterday. If the Eagles blow another big lead in the fourth quarter this coming Sunday, do you fire Jim Schwartz?
I'm okay. I've been going back and forth with my own thoughts about this because I really hate overreacting. I don't want to overreact to say fire him.
But
thing is, his stubbornness is really hurting this team.
Yep.
It's really hurting this team. The other side of it is, if you fire him, okay, who do you bring in?
Yeah.
Who's the defensive coordinator? I will say, someone on Twitter mentioned someone that is very intriguing.
I know who you're going to go
You're going to
go ahead.
Me first?
Yeah, you go first. Go ahead.
No, you go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Oh, yeah.
Spags?
Oh, God.
Oh.
I didn't even think of him.
Yeah.
It's an interesting.
I thought you were going like Rex Ryan.
Oh, God.
I didn't want it. I thought you were going like him or Jeff Fisher, like a Foles reunion. Keep him away. Don't let him get to Foles. Don't let him get to Foles.
No, don't let him get to Wentz.
Oh God!
Don't come near the quarterback.
God, no. Oh God, no. Keep Schwartz here, please.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to lean toward fire Schwartz.
Could you
But
Rex Ryan? You know why I bring his name up? Because I remember the idiots on the dial when Schwartz was getting crucified last year.
Okay, yeah.
Before we came in the stage of, oh my God, Schwartz is going to leave us. He's going to be the coach of the Giants. What are we going to do? Before we got to that stage,
yeah.
People were like, oh, well, if you fire Schwartz now, you might be able to get Rex Ryan. And they even did say Jeff Fisher back then. I'm like, really?
God.
This was before we knew about Jeff Fisher. This is before he was still respected.
Oh, God.
I think there's two reasons that they won't fire him in season. One, if you fire your defensive coordinator at this point, you don't have a defensive-minded head coach. To me, they're throwing the towel in on the year. Two, I think because he won a Super Bowl, that's going to buy him some extra time. That'll buy him at least till the end of the year to see if they can right the ship. Even if they don't make the playoffs, if they start to kind of re-show that form that they had last year to where, okay, rough patch, a couple bumps in the road, lot to look forward to again, though next year, that's the difference maker for me. If they fire him mid-season, they're throwing the towel in on the rest of the year.
I'll ask you guys this. If they go 8-8, okay, who's more likely to get fired, the defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator? Because for me, it's easy.
It's
Defensive
probably the
coordinator.
Really?
Defensive
Oh,
coordinator.
I think offensive coordinator.
Okay, let me hear your argument because you could make a good point.
Go ahead, Crump.
That's just like a kick.
Well,
knee-jerk
again,
reaction.
I think because they have just recently, and even if it's one bad year, just recently won a Super Bowl with the defensive coordinator, he's probably going to get more of a leash. Also, and I'm actually, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm backing you on this because they still have Deuce Staley in their back pocket.
Yep. And he's kind of a bigger role now.
And I kind of feel like they may have missed the boat on hiring Deuce to begin with. And if these offensive struggles continue with the talent that they have on this team, you're not going to fire the head coach. You have to go to the next man on the line.
Yes.
So maybe they choose not to fire him. Maybe they switch the roles and he's not a coordinator and he takes over whatever role Deuce has, and Deuce goes over and takes. I don't know what they would do because I feel like Doug's going to probably be loyal to this guy.
Well, this is my point, and to the people at home, don't think that we're saying, oh, we're calling for these people's heads. No. It's a hypothetical game where if we go 8-8 and somebody's getting fired, defensive or offensive, Chrome and I think it's offensive because I'll point to this, and you made great points as well. There's no dip. Like, Doug was the head coach last year. The talent was there last year.
Mm-hmm.
The talent is here this year. I understand there's banged up pieces. I understand that. But the core of what we had last year is here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's here.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
It's not like week 2 when half of our offense was gone. No, they're here now. The only guy that's not here is Ajayi and Wallace, who wasn't even here last year.
Right.
And Sproles, who wasn't here last year. The whole lack of communication, the self-inflicted mistakes, the misassignment, all that, which wasn't happening last year, it doesn't fall, to me, it falls on the head coach, but it goes deeper than that. Because what's the deep-rooted difference? It's the coordinator.
Yeah.
It's the guy who is managing the offense. That is his job. To me, it falls on him. And I don't know if it's because he's not communicating well with the players. I don't know if it's a respect thing. I don't know. I'm not there. But something's clearly not right because I'm not blaming it on Super Bowl hangover. None of that. You don't go from a team that makes 0 mistakes to a team that makes constant mistakes. That drive that ended up just being, we just killed it at the clock at the end of the first half, that play with Smallwood running 54 yards, if you go after that and that doesn't come back because of an Alshon Jeffrey penalty when he didn't even need to move, that you can root as the difference in the game. Just taking out the fourth quarter. Because if you go down and that counts, you're scoring points.
Good
Because you have a minute left on the clock.
Good point. Yeah. That is a great point. Just as a counter argument, if they're going to fire someone after the season, if we finish 8-8, you could also make an argument though that with Groh, the offensive coordinator, it's his first year and he's still learning on the spot, and they might want to give him some more time. While Schwartz, he's been here longer, and maybe the prevalent issues with his scheme just are not getting fixed, therefore they fire him. But again, you could have a great point. I wouldn't be surprised if it worked out either way.
I'll just say this. I don't think it's a scheme thing. I think it's a leadership thing.
I agree.
That's what changes the whole vibe for me.
And James had a great question on here. He says, how much of what's happening is the coaches or lack of execution? On the offensive side of the football, I think a big part of it is both of it. And when you have constant lack of execution, that falls – what's up, brother?
Daddy?
That falls on the head coach. Or, I'm sorry, the coordinator at that point. And I think the difference is essentially it's still the same offense. They just have Groh throwing in his intricacies of it, and it's not working. Whatever he's thrown in and the changes he's made to try to keep it the same as from last year or add his spin on it to improve, it's not working. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. You have one with Jim Schwartz, and I think that buys him at least on a short leash in the next year. So, and last one I'm going to read. Dion says, no, I wouldn't fire him, but I'm pretty sure he's received a stern talking to after Sunday's game. He hates the blitz, and I have a
Huge issue with that, he says.
Okay. So, guys, great stuff. You joined us on Facebook, Periscope, and Instagram. We appreciate it. We're going to continue to talk on the other side. We'll continue to talk Eagles. Tough week this week. We'll talk maybe potential trade targets or ways to improve this football team. We'll do No Huddle on the other side. All that. First half of the show brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountants. Make them yours, GibsonMayer.com. And Clearly Stream Smart, bringing us our poll question as usual. On the other side, over YouTube, link is in the comment section, top of the page. Please join us. Don't go away. We'll see you on the other side. All right, fam, welcome back to Birds of a Feather live on A2D Radio from the Real Talk Studios. Second half of the show brought to you by StreamSmart, StreamSmart.com. Our Scanzano Sports poll question: which fourth quarter decision in Week 7 amongst the NFC East teams was the worst? Eagles only running once with a 17-point lead. Cowboys' terrible clock management. Eli Manning attempting 2 quarterback sneaks at the goal line. We are exclusively on YouTube. So thanks for sticking with us, YouTube fam, and anyone who made the jump to YouTube. We appreciate it. We talked about quite a bit in the first half of this show. I'm sure we're going to dive back into it. Took us a minute to get back on because we were pulling the Sixers game up. The Sixers are up, I believe, 3 in the fourth quarter now. Am I correct?
I'm not sure. I think around 3.
It was 3 a second ago, and then we turned our heads. So
It's too close.
Too close for comfort against Detroit right now. But anyway, guys, let's get back into it. We started talking about some potential trade opportunities or guys that we would target. What's a name that you've heard? And I know that you just said Janoris Jenkins is one that you kind of want to stay away from. Is there anybody else out there that you've heard floating around that you're totally not on board with? Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to lead off with this really quick. Rasul Douglas just tweeted this not too long ago.
Okay.
He said, "Learned a lot today, and I'm all for it." So could that mean that he's possibly getting a look at safety?
Could be. Bigger role.
Yeah. So I just
They got to do something to shake it up.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you, Avonte Maddox, he's doing his best, but he's not a safety. He's a slot corner. He does not belong at safety. So
That's a really good question, actually, Karam. Guys out there that we've heard the names of, but we don't want any parts of? Is that what your question was?
Somebody that you're like, no, please. No, like, you don't, yeah.
Could this be because
Kelvin
of...
Benjamin?
Well, yeah. Could this be because of not only the quality of player, but the asking price?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you saw what Amari Cooper drew from the Cowboys, which is an absolute atrocity of a move.
I don't hate the move. I don't hate it.
First-round pick.
Listen, man, let me just tell you this, okay? And yes, it's too
another
much.
guy, by the way, who has an issue with dropping balls.
Yeah, I understand that, but let me just tell you this. Who would you rather be right now? The Raiders, who has just a bunch of stuff, or a team in the Cowboys? And listen, obviously, if I could find a way not to compliment the Cowboys, I'd do it. And I'm not necessarily complimenting them for this move because it is what it is. It was a desperation move. That's what you do when you're desperate. And we knew from the start of this season they were desperate at that position. They're a team in a weak division and in a situation where they need to figure out who their quarterback is. In a way, if it's not a key to winning this division, which obviously this helps, I mean, Amari Cooper does not make them worse. It gives them an opportunity to figure out who Dak Prescott is. Because with a weapon like Amari Cooper, who, yeah, he's not perfect, but he's a whole hell of a lot better than what he was, what they had.
God bless.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's a situation where they have an offensive line. They have a running back who's very good. Now they have a playmaker on the outside. You know that they were going to draft a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah.
So they took that pick, and they're like, okay, let's go out and get somebody that we know can actually play, who can be better. And in my opinion, I said this when the Eagles rumors were surrounding us last week when people were saying, oh, the Eagles are going to go after him. Amari Cooper, to me, is one of those guys that fits the whole change of scenery whole storyline of
Possibly.
So, listen, he's not perfect, and it's too much, but it got them a whole hell of a lot closer to winning this division. It gave their quarterback help. Like, listen, if Dak Prescott can't get it done with what they have now, they know they can't pay him. They need to decide if they're going to pay him this offseason.
Yeah.
So listen, if he doesn't do it, they know if they need to move on. So I don't think it's as crazy of a move as a lot of people say it is, to be honest.
I totally understand where you're coming from, and I was considering that too, like how desperate they are in need for him. So it, in a way, does that warrant them giving up more than what maybe the value is? My friend brought up the point of us last year when we desperately needed a corner and we went out and got Darby for us. We gave up, a second-round pick, right?
Mhm.
So
I think it was the third. I think it was
Was
the
it
third in Matthews.
was
Third
it
in Matthews, yeah.
Okay. All right, then that makes my point even more better. But but what your point as to, they're really desperate. They need to find out. Like, that's a totally legit point, and you have a great point. I don't think it's asinine when you put it that way. I just, for a first-round pick, that's just still to me, and I'm putting my hate for the Cowboys aside. Just to me, for the Eagles in the same exact situation, for a first-round pick, that's still, despite the need, that still would have been too much for my liking.
Well, apparently we offered a second, and to me, I think that's a little too much for Cooper.
Yeah,
I still think it was a second would have been too much too, and that's why first is a no-go for me at all. No matter how desperate you are, but like with a second, I would have been unhappy, but I wouldn't have been like, this is absolutely atrocious. Like, no, like it's more of like, I don't think he's worth that, but whatever, we'll see. But first,
I had him pegged as like a third, if you can get him on a good deal, fourth-round pick in a trade.
And at the end of the day, like we talked about last week, structurally, and I know Howie Roseman's a genius when it comes to the cap. I understand all that. He's a wizard. But we talked about how going into this offseason, you have to at least attempt to re-sign the likes of Aguilar and Graham, and then you need to pay your quarterback. So, and I remember last week we brought up, how long his contract is and his cap hit, and it's nearly $14 million next year. So, ideally and situationally for this Eagles team, it didn't really fit. Mm-hmm. But it could fit a lot better for the Cowboys, and I think it does. Sweeps actually chimes in on this as well.
Hey, Sweepsy.
He says, I agree, bro. First-round pick is too much, but Cooper is 24 and two-time 1,000-yard receiver. I know he's been on a milk carton this year, but I feel everyone in Oakland has checked out under Gruden, truthfully. And that's true. Like I said, that goes right, and I agree, Sweeps, that goes right back to change of scenery. Players can look really bad and even worse than they truly are based on their surroundings and who they have around them. And to me, when there's nothing going right in Oakland, when their quarterback is under controversy somehow, nothing can go right. And to be honest, he hasn't been targeted that much. He really hasn't. So I think he's been extremely limited as far as how much he's actually getting to play.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like I said, it's just first is too much for my taste. But, I mean, we'll see. We will see. The excuses for Dak are out the window from here on out.
Yeah.
Like, he's got his wide receiver.
Show me time. This is gut check time for him.
Show me time. He's got a line. I mean, who's their offensive coordinator? Why am I drawing a blank of who their offensive coordinator is? Whoever their offensive coordinator is, they're drawing up better plays for him because now they're drawing up designed runs and everything, which is what you need to do with Dak. Like that first round pick, that's a lot. So we'll see how it goes though. If they end up winning the division, was it worth it?
Oh, it'll look great.
It'll look great. It'll look great
now,
until we see what that first round pick is going to become too. I mean, that's the other part of it, but I totally understand. I totally get it.
I want to go back to your original question, Chrome, because I don't want to not answer that.
Yeah.
Because it's such a good question. I'm honestly trying to I know there's a name out there that I've heard. Charles, is there one for Chrome? Do you have one?
I'm trying to think of one.
Because there's been so many names floated out there. And well, I mean McCoy. McCoy, absolutely. No. I don't want.
No.
But that's I feel like that's kind of old news, even though every day somebody with a blue check mark tries to say, the situation with LaShawn McCoy and the Eagles aren't over. Listen, unless somebody seriously tries to convince me otherwise, that situation is over.
I mean, you talked about Jenkins already, Janoris Jenkins.
I'm just not crazy about the idea of Devontae Parker.
Oh, I don't like it. I just am extremely confident it's happening. I never liked the move.
I don't know if he's the upgrade for me that we need at wide receiver enough that I can overlook the other holes on this team to where I would rather see them go out and get someone for the secondary or even a running back at this point. I still think there's enough receiving options to where If I'm going to give up a decent asset, I'd rather see them utilize it elsewhere. So Devontae Parker's not the – it's not that I would hate if they got him, but it doesn't make me jump out of my seat and say, oh, man, we went and got Devontae Parker.
Well, the only reason why you would get
that's the one name that I'm continuing to hear that I'm not overly excited.
Oh, trust me, I've never liked it.
If you know, I follow Miami. It's my pseudo AFC team.
Yeah.
If you get Devontae Parker, it's not to, in my opinion, it's not to add to your team. It's to keep Jordan Matthews off the field. I think that's, you know what I mean? You're signing Devontae Parker because the guy who's on the squad can't get it done.
What if? See, like I've always said, I've been okay with the Devontae Parker trade rumors, under the pretense that we're not going to give up anything for him, like practically anything, like a 6th round pick.
Yeah.
To me, if you give up a 6th or a 7th round pick for Devontae Parker, who's a healthy scratch now, who's been a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
So I think it's viable. I think he'd be fine as a stopgap until Mike Wallace gets back. I think that's what you're looking at. If you're expecting anything else, and if we were to give up anything more than a 6th round pick, I'm totally in your boat. I'm like, no, F that.
I just feel like it's probably, with seeing what some of the return on some of these guys are, a Devontae Parker will probably cost a 4th or 5th round pick. I'm not totally.
Really?
I could see a 5th round pick for him.
For somebody that's a healthy scratch?
Yeah, that's why
I disagree, Chrome. Miami's nuts if they're trying to do that. They'll never get rid of him.
I just feel like he's a guy, though, that they're going to try to sell on previous success and look at it as a down year now. And I'm not saying he's had a crazy amount of success, but he's had enough in this league that teams look at him as a viable option to bring in to improve their team.
Well, we got a 4th rounder from Miami for Ajayi when Ajayi was still playing, and it came out of nowhere. Like, there was no, there were no reports. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, from what I remember, there were no previous reports of him being shopped.
No, it's just I woke up one morning, he's here.
Yeah,
That's
there were reports that earlier on, obviously, about him and Gase going back and forth, from the year before.
And there was concern with his production because he got off to a slow start last year in Miami, which the whole team did, which as soon as he stepped in, he only knew a couple plays and he made an impact in his first game.
With all that being said, we got a 4th out of him. I don't find it out a stretch to expect Parker, who his agent came out and called out Gase. They're making him a healthy scratch, even though he's not injured. He's just inactive. Like, Miami has no leverage. I don't see. I'm with you, Brian. Ryan. Sorry, I said Brian. I don't see a reason why we would have to give up too much for him. You know what I mean?
I think the comparison, the combination of him being a healthy scratch, him having the whole reputation of having injury problems, and then the element which no one's really talking about, how his agent has been chirping back and forth, taking shots at the organization, which makes the whole situation even more desperate in Miami, because Miami doesn't want that situation looming around, even if they're not going to win anything. You don't want that in your locker room if you're 6-1 or 1-6. It's a distraction.
Yep.
So I think with those 3 things combined, and then, listen, Miami, they got off to a good start. They're not winning anything. We talked about it a few weeks ago. I said they were dead as soon as 2 of their main contributors on the offensive line went down.
And they've had a lot of injuries.
Yes,
since then.
Albert Wilson is on the IR. He's going to be done.
Their defense has taken a lot of hits too.
So,
which was going to be so pivotal to their success was the defense.
I think they're now in a situation with Tannehill now showing he can't stay healthy. I think they're going to try and not tank, because I don't like using the word tank in the NFL because it's not the NBA. But I think it'd be wiser for them, and they're starting to realize this, that with the Jets getting a new quarterback, and it seems like it's going to work, the Bills getting a new quarterback, who the hell knows, if you ride with Tannehill for years to come, you're going to be trapped. So I think it'd be wise for them to recognize that they have nothing going for them this season, move on, and go on and try and build to getting a quarterback. Now, trading Devontae Parker is not going to help them get a quarterback, but it's going to have them do a fire sale, is my point.
But let's look at it. Let's look at other options. How do you feel about possibly looking at a Terrell Pryor?
I thought about that. I mean, that's an ultimate experiment. I compare that in its different
Yeah.
positions.
But I'm looking at him as probably a low-cost, high-reward guy that you could bring
He's
in.
a free agent.
Yeah, they cut him.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to
Oh, yeah,
cost
like
very
sign him. Oh,
much
yeah,
to
cost
bring
nothing.
him in.
Well, you know what that is?
Minimum.
You sign him. It's the same thing in different positions. I look at that the same way we sign freaking Christian Hackenberg. We sign him to the practice squad and we see what happens. I mean, that I'm not saying you would put Terrell Pryor in the practice squad because there's no real way of knowing what he's going to do on the field, and he's obviously not an undrafted free agent by any means that came out this year. But I don't know. There's so much going on with him. I mean, he fell off the planet. I mean, it was him and Alshon. It was literally him and
Yeah.
Alshon that were the two most touted available wide receivers all last season.
Yeah,
Just prior to when we signed Alshon, it looked like this was a done deal.
Yes.
If you had read about
Yeah.
that, and then it was like the 11th hour, the Eagles managed to swoop in and lock up the Alshon deal.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Terrell Pryor would have been our wide receiver that we acquired that year.
Listen, man, I would love to say that Terrell Pryor would come here and it would rejuvenate his career because he's playing with 11. I think he's just one of those guys to where he just hit the wall and he just can't ever recover. And it's sad, but that happens sometimes.
I'm with you, yeah.
Dez is still out there.
Yeah, well, I thought about first off, no one's talking about him anymore.
No.
What, is he just never going to play again?
I don't know.
Because there's
know.
nothing. You're not hearing anything about him except for when he tweets.
Yeah, I was about to say that. He tweets. It's the only time you.
Tweets about wanting to go back to the
Is he
Cowboys. He tweets about how great number 11 looks in film.
I mean, I've been very honest with this for weeks. You signed Des Bryant. I mean, go get Des Bryant, please. I can't. I told you 3 weeks ago. I can't believe I'm saying this, but get him. Listen, I don't know if Des is trying to become the new color commentator for Monday Night Football. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's talking more than he's playing.
Yeah.
My thing with Dez at this point is we need a deep threat. We need an explosive threat. That's not what Dez is.
Right.
So I don't. Like I said, if you're gonna sign him for cheap and just be like, okay, let's see what you got.
Unless you're gonna run
Sure.
Unless you're gonna run Aguilar out there to see what he can do
We
as far as
can't-
the deep ball.
Deep threat. Yeah, deep. I mean,
Here's the problem, though, Chucks.
go ahead. Yeah.
We can't sign him for cheap. We've been down that road before. He's not going to sign for cheap. That's why
Yes.
he's held out all this
That's
time.
That's why I wouldn't be interested in Dez, because if at that price, if I have to sign someone at that price, a free agent, big name guy, they got to be a deep threat. I'm not paying that much for a possession wide receiver that is only good in the red zone when we are literally just playing three big guys already with one slot guy. Like, he's not going to make a difference in terms of what we need. Like, we're literally running out. We are in 12 personnel most of the time. It is Ertz, Goddard, Alshon, Aguilar. Those are the four people we have out all there. Des Bryant, you're gonna put out Des Bryant there in place of Dallas Goddard. It's not gonna stretch the field. It's not gonna really do much of, like, what can Des Bryant do that Dallas Goddard? How much more? I'll put it this way: how much more is Des Bryant gonna do compared to what Dallas Goddard is already doing for you? You get what I mean?
Aside from the fact that I think Dez will get the ball more thrown to him because we know that doesn't happen with Dallas. You know what I'm saying? Like, the difference between Dez and Dallas is Dez will actually get the ball.
Sometimes. I mean, I get what your point is, but I mean, at the same time, Dallas Goddard being in there does. If you're talking about getting another running back, right? Say, like, that's part of a combo. Like, say, like, we sign Dez and then we also get an upgrade for the running back position. Dez isn't. I mean, he's not an outstanding run blocker.
No.
But when we have Dallas Goddard in there, he's a very good run blocker. So it helps in that type of package. So, I mean, it's just I don't see the big upside in Dez, signing Dez enough to the point where, okay, I can give him this kind of money. If it were a circumstance where he's cheap enough, sure, why not? Talent. But, I mean, again, like you said, it's not going to happen. So
No.
I wouldn't go for it.
Do you trade for Patrick Peterson if Jalen Mills is requested in that deal?
Yes.
I mean, are you serious?
I'm just
Yes.
So what kind of a draft pick would you pair with Jalen though?
Jalen Mills
A
and
third?
a third. We're on. Yeah.
Jalen in a third.
What if they
Jalen
said
a third.
Jalen in a second?
Okay. You're pulling my leg, but
No, you know what I do? If they say Jalen in a second, I call Denver.
for what? Chris Harris?
Yeah.
But what if they don't want Jalen?
Then I call Arizona back. I mean, if you're asking me what
Okay.
I'm doing, that's what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
Okay.
Dude, you're like,
I'm concerned.
bad service.
Well,
Click.
do you know the
Call back.
scene?
Sorry about that bad service,
You
guys.
know the scene
I
from
just
Ferris
shut that off.
Bueller. You know the
Shut
scene
it
from Ferris Bueller in the
Yeah.
principal's office
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he has all the lines
Yeah.
and the secretary's running back and forth. Grace, Grace. I mean, that's what my office is looking like if I'm Howie Roseman right now.
Oh yeah. No, I hear you.
Run through some of the Facebook or the YouTube comments. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we haven't. Oh, we haven't.
did I
touched
really
it.
We
Oh,
gotta
okay.
get to the
shoot.
YouTube.
Did I really
crowd.
just make a Ferris Bueller reference?
Yes, you did.
I'm shocked at your age you made a Ferris Bueller.
Oh,
reference,
dude,
Ryan.
it's a top 10 movie.
That's
Stop.
that's a cheers to you, buddy. Nice job.
It's a top 10 movie. Shame on me if I don't know that movie.
Oh, that's a classic. Okay, so I'm trying to. F Deems. I'm gonna start here. F Deems says I'm willing to call a season I'm willing to call the season a dud if we lose to Jacksonville. Sorry, that's what he was saying. He also says, who knows we missed the playoffs. We can get angry. Chance to get Benny Snell Jr. if he declares. I don't know Benny Snell Jr.
Wait, are we talking draft?
That's what F Deems is. He has a bunch of comments here. I'm guessing. I like Emmanuel Sanders if you could get him for a better price. If not, then no. Oh, guess he can only catch Peyton passes. Sanders is killing it. I disagree with that. He's talking about Sutton has been playing well too. Yes, the rookie wide receiver Sutton has been playing well. I'm going to fast forward here. Baseball talk.
A lot of it, yeah.
F. Deem says Jenkins also has a legal issue he's probably distracted by. Our expectations were too high after our first Super Bowl. Patriots won 9-7 after their first Super Bowl. Now we know what happens when you win a title. And then he says Grow is the one that's going to go. He's talking about your conversation before the
I agree,
first
man.
half, yeah.
I agree. If somebody goes, yeah.
Oh, he says this. Mike McCoy is available. Hell no.
Did we really just
Hell
say Mike
no.
McCoy?
You're talking about the guy who just got fired because he couldn't use
Oh.
David Johnson, right?
Mike
So,
McCoy.
No,
yeah, you know why he's available? Because he
He
sucks.
sucks. ASMR says, "What's up, boys?"
ASMR.
What's up, ASMR?
He says, after that, Harlem Cowboy says Philly stinks, and then ASMR comes back and says, Harlem, chances your team blows. That was a horrible trade by Dallas.
Yeah, your name stinks too.
Yeah, and then they're going back and forth. I'm trying to see what else. Living the Dream says, just looked up the start of the Seahawks season the year after they won, and they started off pretty slow too.
That's a
Only
great point.
difference is they were 4-3.
And their quarterback actually played all the games.
Yeah.
No, it's a great point, living the dream.
Yeah, and then ASMR says, let's face it, the whole division stinks this year.
Yeah.
Yep. And Live in the Dream says, not trying to be just a comparison to a recent to go back to. So I guess he's just trying to make a reference point as to former Super Bowl champions.
Harlem Cowboy says, you guys are not the Steelers. Yeah, you're right, Harlem Cowboy. You know why we're not the Steelers? Because we're
Seahawks.
actually going to win more than one Super Bowl in the course of 5 years. That's why.
The Seahawks.
Hmm?
You said the Steelers. He said Seahawks.
Seahawks? Oh, okay. He's
All
talking
right, well,
about
they're
the
the
Seahawks.
All right, we're not the Seahawks either.
Yeah, we're not the Seahawks either.
Thank you, Crown.
Just want to make sure I keep you on your toes there, buddy.
So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, though, for all the reasons we just said, and going back to your original point,
here's
we
the
don't need a wide receiver. We don't need
But
one.
here's the reason we're not the Seahawks. We have more assets in place long term.
Yeah.
At this point, young assets, specifically on the defensive line. Losing Derek Barnett this year is going to be a huge blow. Even in games where you don't hear his name as much, he has a knack in the big moment for creating a play and getting to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And I feel like this season, in a season where we've seen this team struggle to close out games and make those big plays, he's been one of the few bright spots in that aspect, to where he seems to consistently find another gear towards that last in the fourth quarter in that last couple, 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game to create plays on defense.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel as far as the defensive line depth now and how this is going to affect us going forward?
Oh, it's a huge blow.
It kills.
I talked about it in the first half. Like, this rotation is not as much of a rotation anymore. Like, you're going to have to ask Josh Sweat to step up and play significant snaps now. And as high as I am on him, he just doesn't look ready. He shows flashes here and there, but you're talking about someone who probably needs to add a little bit more weight. He needs an off-season weight program to go to be under. He technique-wise, he needs to learn how to just better technique in his pass rush reps. He doesn't know what he's doing out there yet to counter good offensive tackles that know how to counter his first move. So
9.5 seconds left. Sixers tied 126.
I know,
I'm sorry, I
was
forgot
watching
this
that
was even
too.
on.
Yeah, yeah, they got the ball 120. Sorry, guys, real quick.
Come on.
Watching it. Come on.
Embiid. Oh, Redick. Don't give it.
Dario.
That's a mistake. That was a mistake. Dario has not been able to
Overtime.
make anything all season because he's
God.
dealing with the heavy legs from playing over
Oh,
the
from
summer.
playing
You
over the
don't
season.
give it to freaking Dario. Damn.
Do you think it was drawn up that way? It didn't look like it was. drawn
No,
up
I
that
think Redick should have went for the shot.
way. Yeah.
Well, he had a defender all over him. He gave it to the
Let me
open.
see
man.
replay. Right there.
Uh,
See, Chrome, he's one of those players,
You
though,
can't-
that he
yeah, but
shoots with momentum. I mean,
know,
in movement.
I know, but you can't pass up that open look like that.
I
That's your
know.
best. That's your best shooting opportunity.
Are we
That's your
really
best
going in
scoring
overtime with the Detroit
Yeah,
Pistons
they
right
came
now?
back. They came back. Oh my god. Anyways,
Sorry, Chucks.
No. You're good. I think that was pretty much my point. Like, it's not a rotation now, so that just makes improving the secondary that much more important because over the course of a whole game, we're not going to get that consistent pass rush. There's going to be lulls in the game where it's not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Not like last year where it was relentless for 4 quarters and that was the difference. The rest of this year now, they're going to be lulls, and so you're going to have times where the secondary has to step up. That's why we need secondary help.
No, and I think it's even more important and more of an emphasis now on the offense. They're going to have to keep the defense off the field.
Yes.
Enough of this underperforming, and missing guys at the sticks and getting first downs because we're trying to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Clement's going to have to learn how to be a little bit more patient of a runner behind the line. There's a lot that has to be fixed at this point. Let's be realistic. But there's more of an emphasis now because the defense is so thin and there is less of a rotation, and these guys are going to have to step up and take bigger roles. They're going to need a help on the offensive side of the football.
The key to the defensive line staying sustainable is one man, and that's Timmy Jernigan coming back.
Yeah.
He's the only man who can save this right now because
you could save us.
the guy who's
Okay.
been killed by this, and we saw it late in the game, and Chucks, you pointed right at it at the very beginning of the show. This whole depth situation with the defensive line, it's killing one man, and that's Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
All last season, the reason why he was so great, it's because he was not on the field for every snap.
Yeah.
He was able to stay rested for those late game situations. Why do you think, ladies and gentlemen, why do you think we got so many key stops at the end of games in the red zone? Why do you
Exactly.
think he was so crucial in that Falcons playoff game?
Exactly.
Because he was rested.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think he was so crucial in late games in that Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Because he was rested.
Compare how our defensive line and pass pressure was all season to the Vikings, who literally play their starting front four all game.
Yep.
Like all game. They got tired. You see it. So it's a real thing. This isn't Madden where your stamina can be like 90 for a player and you don't have to sub them out. This is real life. They get tired. So that rotation was so key, and without it, the rest of the defense has to step up.
And I'm so sick. Like, I understand why fans say this. I understand it, and they're not idiotic, but I'm getting sick and tired of people saying, oh, my God, they need to blitz more. They need to blitz more. Ladies and gentlemen, first off, forget the fact that they ran a blitz on the play that lost us the game on Sunday. That was a blitz. And, by the way, when we were against Tennessee, you know that play that we lost on? That was a blitz as well. Did we ever think?
Thielen. Don't forget about the
Oh,
Thielen
yeah.
play.
Oh, that's a great point as well. So that's 3 for 3 right there. And I'm sure we can go on a list even further if we want to, but let's just stay with those 3. Forget the fact that everyone wants to call Jim Schwartz stubborn for not doing it. He's stubborn with a lot of things, no question. But did it ever occur to people that maybe the roster that we have isn't built for blitz?
It isn't. That's the point.
And also, you know what else isn't built for blitz? Our secondary. You know, the part of the field and part of the defense that gets more exposed when there's a blitz.
Exactly.
Why do you think, ladies and gentlemen, Schwartz doesn't blitz more?
Thank
Because our secondary isn't good enough.
Thank you.
If our secondary was really good, there would be
blitz
more blitzing. If our defensive line was built to blitz.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Ready? Tag me.
I
in
thought you
because-
were doing
No,
high
no,
five.
yeah, we could do both of them
There you
because
go.
high five, tag me in. I think this fan base has been kind of misconstrued.
Damn.
Oh, goddamn. Has been led false beliefs or information, whatever you want to call it, because we're so used to Jim Johnson.
Yep.
Right. You
But
watched years and years of blitzing.
What did we consistently have when Jim Johnson was our defensive coordinator? We had cornerbacks. We had a safety in Brian Dawkins. Our corners went from Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor and Hal Harris and transitioned over to the next generation to Lito Shepard and Sheldon Brown and then Michael Lewis next to Brian Dawkins. We had a good secondary. Therefore, we're going to lose. Therefore, we could blitz.
Yep.
This isn't the case right now. We don't have this is why I got so heated earlier because it's weeks and weeks and weeks of fans thinking they have the answer to a defense when they don't know what they're talking about. You are reiterating a point that's been trying. People have been trying to make to these idiot fans. Like the answer is not always in just let's blitz more. No. Because we've given up so many big plays from blitzes. Okay? We're not a zone blitzing team.
No.
If we blitz, it's man blitz, correct? So when we blitz, our guys are one-on-one. And when you blitz, you're sending more people. There's no safety help oftentimes.
Which our corners need badly.
Our corners need safety help.
Especially Mills.
So common sense, think about it. If you want Schwartz to constantly blitz, you're leaving Mills and Darby by themselves even more. You're exposing them even more. And if this season isn't a testament enough to all the big plays we've given up by blitzing, I don't know what is.
Especially when Darby is an undersized cornerback and Jalen Mills always bites on the double move.
Yes. Thank you.
So, I mean, listen, I understand, and it's not all the fans that are saying this. And listen, I get, like Chrome said, like we all just said, we understand why everyone calls blitz. And in certain spots, yeah, it's better to blitz than not. We're not saying we should never blitz, so don't think we're saying that at home. But
you have to pick your spots.
Just like the main reason why we all agreed on why the Chip Kelly era didn't work. Because he implemented a system in his stubborn mind that he thought anybody can run my system because it's my system.
Yes.
When in actuality, his system didn't work not because of his scheme, but because of the players he put in place.
Yes.
His offense is never going to work with an injury-prone Sam Bradford and a Ryan Matthews. It's never going to work. It's never going to work with a Jordan Matthews who isn't good enough, and I can continuously go on a list.
Yeah.
If you do not have the personnel to achieve what you're trying to do with that set play, set scheme, etc., why do it?
Yeah.
Because in the end of the day, it's going to hurt you. And Chrome Sweeps chimes in.
Sweet.
He said he liked your word patience on Clement. because he runs the ball like Ray Charles with a helmet on. Dude just goes straight.
We've been saying it, Crow.
I love
We've been saying it. Boom, boom. What happened? Did I text you? Did I text you?
That was a good one, Sweeps.
No, I don't think I did. Remember Clemens' fumble?
Oh,
Where
yeah,
he
I remember.
recovered it, or Wentz recovered it?
Yeah.
By the way, heads
What
up
did he
play by
do?
Wentz.
What did he do? He went straight into the line.
It reminded me of the butt fumble.
I've been saying it. I've been saying it since this summer.
But, people
Oh
out there
my
don't
gosh.
think we need a running back.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Oh, we'll be fine.
Fine.
Oh,
We're
yeah, that
having-
52 yards of freaking run offense, right?
We're having
Against a dead, I'll say it again, against a team that was dead. They were dead. We let them off the hook. They were dead.
They are who we thought they were.
We let them off the hook.
Listen, I said it last week. I think Clement has the potential to be a really good, solid number 2 handcuff in this league.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But there's still a ways to go with him. And right now, we're running out there a number 1. As a number 1, we're running a middle.
Tie it!
Sorry, Carl.
That's okay. Tie game, baby.
All JJ. Oh, he had the
He's
and
running
one
his mouth. I
earlier.
love when he runs
I'm sorry,
his mouth.
but JJ is such a gangster, dude.
I know.
Yeah.
I love him.
I
He's
love
not
it.
even have a good shooting night, but he's still shooting. That's awesome.
He's better shooting
that's
than
a
shooting than
Fultz.
anyone else.
But
No,
that's
better
what,
than Fultz.
But that's what pros and veterans do.
Yeah.
You keep shooting until
Keep
you get
shooting.
out of it.
Yep.
When you're a shooter, your job is to shoot the
To shoot, so
basketball.
shoot it, yeah.
You can't get discouraged when you're missing shots.
Yeah.
But it's shot selection, which is the total opposite of Rocco, who shoots up
I knew
shots
this was coming up.
with 2 or 3 defenders in his face, fading away from the tip of the tee in the middle of the
Listen,
court
man.
where the Pistons are.
This is why I'll never forget the arguments we used to have with Paulie.
Oh man!
Because
miss
I didn't
Paulie.
I didn't let him go. I stuck to it.
Yeah.
I
I
stuck
hear
to
Oh,
it.
me too. Me too.
Oh, I know. We weren't. I wasn't the only one.
We miss you, Paulie.
Yeah. We
By
do
the
miss
way,
you, Paulie.
the
Good luck to shout out to Paulie. He's doing some big things. So if you're listening, keep an eye out for his work. He's making moves.
He's got
So,
some good stuff that
Yeah,
he's
he's-
writing over
oh
there. at
Christ,
NBC
get away,
Sports.
get him away. Oh yeah, that's great, Dario.
Oh man, he has no legs, like you said.
He's done. He's so exhausted.
He's shooting free throws from the 3-point line.
They should have never let him play that summer
I
tournament
know.
overseas.
They do every year. He came back last year.
Well, and
tired
look-
too.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, can the Sixers? I understand, like, it's not an NBA related thing, but can they be like, "Hey, Dario, you're under contract. Like, don't do that, please."
I don't know.
I hate that more than Joel Embiid playing in the park.
Does he have a contractual obligation to that as well?
I have no idea.
And
I
that-
thought it was just a one-off tournament. I thought it was just like a.
I don't know.
I'm not comparing it to
What's
the World
the
Cup.
national team?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just like a national.
He might be
thing.
committed to that national team, though. I don't know.
Oh God.
Which
Well,
I would hope that's the case, because if they're just that stupid to let him continue to do that,
know.
and every year he comes back with tired legs.
I mean, for the first 2 months, he
That's the problem.
stinks. He stinks for the
Yeah.
first 2 months every single time.
Yeah.
What are they looking at? Was he fouled?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh, I can't see official.
Maybe they're looking to see if the ball hit the rim.
Possibly.
Well, they're going back
Oh,
to this play.
JJ.
No, there's no way they're going back. This was like
Yeah,
2
that's what
minutes
the-
ago.
They
can
do it.
do that.
Yeah, but
They
they
can
can
do
do it
that,
on
yeah.
a stoppage.
Yeah, they can do it on stoppage. Go back to
I'm
They
gonna be
just wait for the
sick.
stoppage.
Yeah. So what? It'll be a 2-point instead of a 3.
Well, then we'll be down by 1.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm not saying like at least the
Come
whole.
on, Charles.
That's the
Goddamn,
difference,
bro.
Chucks.
Obviously,
That's a huge
like,
difference.
that's
With a
not my
minute
point.
27 left
What's
in
your point,
overtime,
Chuck?
that's a big difference.
Never mind.
Sorry, Chucks. We're very upset.
I
This
don't
week.
even care. I don't even want to talk about it.
I don't even
anymore.
want to talk about
care.
it. I don't even want to talk about it. Screw you guys.
Screw you guys,
Screw it.
man.
I'm hanging up now.
So while we await on the decision on this, I remember we were talking about. I'm just going to skip it at this point.
Yeah.
Jacksonville. Charles,
yeah.
what are the keys to the game this week against Jacksonville?
Oh God.
Beat
I mean,
Blake
this
Bortles.
beat Blake Bortles.
Survive.
Oh
So
man.
I don't know what to expect with this game.
I
With the
don't know
time
what
zone.
to expect either. Like there's a lot going into it.
They might be looking at that as well to see if that ball. Well, I guess it wouldn't make a difference, right?
to see if he touched if I'm guessing the defender
Oh,
deflected the ball, therefore it would be Sixers ball.
yeah, that could be.
Oh, yeah,
could be
Sweep.
it,
Thank
yeah.
you, Sweeps. Comes in from the rafters. He says they were reviewing if Dario's shot was tipped. Thank you, Sweeps.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I hope it's tipped because I missed that bad.
I mean, if he misses it that bad, he might need to go back
Look,
over to
he's
Europe.
He's shooting free throws.
I
That might have
don't
been-
know if that was
Oh.
tipped, Derry. I mean,
It's hard to tell.
I didn't see any direction
It's hard
change.
to tell, especially from that angle. It's hard to tell. But
Shut up, Rocco.
Yeah, look at Rocco. Am I playing
Stupid.
basketball right
So
now?
stupid.
He's just so hateable.
Anyways,
He's so
Eagles
hateable.
Jags. I think it's just a matter of the defense has got it first. To me, the key is force turnovers. We haven't been doing that enough.
No
we don't
fumbles.
have takeaways,
any fumbles.
and you fumble recoveries. We need turnovers. If Blake Bortles is starting, here's your chance.
How
You
many-
want to make you want to give the offense a spark. You want to get some easy points, get some turnovers.
I'm serious, man. If we get beat by Blake Bortles this week,
It's
like-
I mean, it's done.
like
It's-
handily,
Yeah, that's
I'm
trouble.
it's done.
That's trouble.
Listen, man, I don't care if it's handily or not. If we come out of there with an L, I don't care if it's handily or not. And to me, and I never do this. I think it was tipped, by the way, with that angle. I think it
I
was tipped
kind of think it was tipped
because I look at his hand.
Yeah,
His
look at
hand
his
went
hand.
from here, Chrome. It went from here to here.
I was looking at the rotation of the basketball.
they
Looked
rule?
like it changed.
His
but
hand was straight up like this, and then it moved back.
I always on those plays. I always look at the rotation of the ball. Did the rotation
think
of the
it's-
ball change?
Pistons ball.
It's probably irrefutable.
Irrefutable,
It's
yeah.
not irrefutable. They can't overturn it if there's no clear.
Yeah.
True. I never say this going into games. I'm always just get a win, move on. If you do not beat this, if this has to come down to another red zone stop, then that says all I need to say. I mean, that's all I need to know. I don't care if we win the game or not. This is a team that is disastrous on both sides of the ball. They don't have Leonard Fournette, who is their key piece on offense. Jalen Ramsey is doing more talking than good defense. That team is disastrous.
If there's anything that we do usually consistently well, minus against Saquon Barkley, it's our run defense. So without them having their impact player, their cowbell, there is no excuse that this team should not be able to get. He always turns the ball over
In late games, this
There-
is the Celtics all over.
Yeah.
again.
There's no excuse for at this point. I'm sorry, guys. We're like totally distracted
Zaza
by
Pachulia.
There's no reason that they cannot right the ship this week and build back a little bit of confidence against a Carlos Hyde. By the way, did you hear people asking if we should go after Jamal Charles?
Yeah, I did see that.
Did
I
you
did see
see?
that.
Did you see
What is it,
Tom's one
2012?
post?
Was it 2012?
Did you see Tom's one
I was like, isn't he with the Jags? Were like,
The-
no, he's
the
already
guy-
released.
The guy that
Damn.
come on, the guy that posted the tweet. He said, "Why don't we go after Jamal Charles? This team needs a power back."
We're like, wait, a power
What?
back?
What?
You didn't see Tom's post?
No.
He posted a guy on Twitter or some. No, it wasn't on Twitter. Sorry, it was on Facebook, posting to an Eagles group saying, "We should go after Jamal Charles. The team needs a power back."
Yeah, sure. Then I'll start calling Sproles a power back. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
I commented, I was like, "My eyes are bleeding."
My eyes are bleeding. I just thought of that old SpongeBob, the whole meme. My eyes, my eyes. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't watch SpongeBob, so
Oh, neither do I. Never mind.
Ryan's like, never mind. I don't watch that shit.
I was only a kid about 5 minutes ago, guys. All right.
oh my god.
All
But
right.
yeah, I mean,
All right, so
Bro.
Ryan, he's gonna give his own predictions on his show tomorrow night when they do
No
the fix.
problem.
If you want, I'll do it now.
That's
I'll
up to
change it
you.
up because every time I save it, they lose. So
we need a change.
I'm
It
going to
starts
say
with
this,
Brodo.
okay? 2010 Eagles.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna give him a little more credit. I'm gonna say 24-13 Eagles. Oh!
Oh, is that a 4-point play?
What? What happened? What?
JJ dropped the 3 bomb.
I told you this is why you give him the ball.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Is that a 4-point play? This is where the volume.
Oh, he was fouled.
This is where not having volume sucks. Sweeps, keep texting us.
Oh, he is.
play-by-play.
He is.
He is.
Text us play-by-play.
He has.
Sweeps.
He said, "JJ 4-point play, the possibility, to possibly win, boys. OMG, OMG. We hold 2 now. 5 seconds left. Thank you, Sweeps.
Okay, I don't want to know.
Just tell me if Allah's going crazy.
I don't want to know how it ends. I don't want to know how it ends. I know
No,
we're
he's
on a
not
delay.
No, he's
We're on
not
a delay.
spoiling.
I know. We're on a delay. So, anyway, you want to go with the score?
24-13.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Player of the game, offensive side of the football. I'm gonna go with what I feel like is a safe bet, but Alshon Jeffrey. I think the passing game is going to be much improved this week. And defensive side of the ball, I am going to go with Ronald Darby. I think we're going to get a pick. I think we're going to get a pick in this game at a very important time when we are going to need it.
Yes.
I think we might get a couple picks against Blake Bortles.
Yeah, that's a
But when it
freaking
comes
awesome.
down to a crucial one at a crucial time in the game, I'm going to go with Ronald Darby to make the play. So
I am going to go. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go 30-20 Eagles with defensive player of the game. Defensive ball goes to Ronald Darby. On the offensive side, I think Aguilar gets at least
All
one
right. We'll see.
long touchdown bomb. That's
He needs to bounce back.
Yeah, he's
I
had
have-
2
I'll-
rough weeks.
I will be honest. I haven't the last 2 weeks. I haven't really well, especially this past game. I haven't rewatched the all 22 yet to see if it's more of a case of Aguilar not getting open, or of Aguilar not getting open, or him getting open and Wentz just not throwing the ball to him. So I don't know if Aguilar is struggling or not. I can't say. So, but I would like to see him get involved.
Yeah, I would say he's had his struggles lately, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how much this week.
I mean, he against the Giants, he played well. He had a huge catch and run where it could have been an interception.
Oh my God.
What are you doing?
Was that a foul?
Yeah.
Why would you foul
would
him
you
on that
foul him?
play?
Dear Lord.
I'm gonna be sick.
It figures. This is Philly.
Oh, look who it was too. Who was it, Chrome?
God.
Who was it?
Joel.
It was okay.
Oh,
No.
Rocco, shit.
If you're gonna foul him, freaking foul him. Make sure he doesn't get the shot down.
JJ, what do I need to do?
Yeah, I know. He's like, really?
JJ's face.
He's like, I scored all our points in overtime, and this is what I get. Yeah.
Poor LeBron, please,
Oh my
Blake.
gosh.
Poor LeBron.
Miss it. Dog! Come on. Damn it.
All right.
Game's over.
Alrighty.
Sick.
Another
No huddle?
loss.
No
Yeah,
huddle.
No
Let's
huddle.
do no huddle. For
Let's do
Christ's
freaking
sake.
no huddle. We're all like pissed off.
It's just not a good week.
It's not a good week at all. Who's gonna lead it off?
Go ahead, guys.
Go.
Go ahead, Charles. I'm pulling up mine.
All right, my first. I think I only have 2, but the one main one I'm gonna start with is. You know what's really funny is that Doug P has had so much success with his aggressiveness on 4th down that it's causing a lot of coaches around the league to do the same, even in bad situations. And I'm going to spotlight Mike Vrabel and the Titans going for 2 at the end of the game in London against the Chargers. That ended up costing them the game. I think that in certain situations you have to be aware of the game flow, like the momentum and how teams are playing. In my opinion, the Titans were controlling that whole second half. They were dominating. The Chargers weren't doing anything. They had all the momentum. You have to kick the point to force it to overtime because you have that momentum. You can't let it come down to one play when you've been dominating the play.
Oh, no.
That's game.
What the
Good job, Rocco.
my God, we had it.
Blake Griffin scored 50 points on us tonight.
Yeah, wonderful, because he's a superstar, right? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think Mike Vrabel is trying too hard to be a cocky, like, look what I can do. I can will us, like, I'm going to be ballsy and not be a coward type of coach, and I get it. But to me, you have to just ride that momentum. And that going for it on 2 was not the right decision. And I think we've seen it. It's not just Vrabel. We've seen it all year long of coaches deciding to go for it on 4th, deciding to go for a 2-point conversion at the wrong times. I'm not against going for it on 4th and going for 2. But you have to be aware of the time and place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Vrabel was absolutely wrong in going for it at that spot. So it's funny no matter what. I think we've seen we've seen Doug already impact the league in a certain way, and this is one of those. For better or for worse, coaches are going to be more ballsy about it. So.
Damian Lillard showed up the other day dressed as Stone Cold Steve Austin and did the walk-in into the arena holding the title belt.
That's funny.
That shit was hilarious. I love that kind of stuff. We need more of that kind of fun stuff in sports. That's my no huddle right there. That stuff was awesome, and I really enjoyed that.
I have one. It's with the NBA. It's with a certain team from Los Angeles, not the Clippers. This Lakers team currently constructed, and let me just preface this, ladies and gentlemen, by saying I know for a fact they will completely turn this team upside down. And when I mean they, I mean LeBron James. Currently constructed, they cannot win.
You're already hearing rumors. I just brought up Damian Lillard of a possible deal that could bring him there with Lonzo Ball being the center package of that.
I'm going to give you 2 names. The one I've been saying since July, Damian Lillard is the other one. I believe that Kemba Walker will be a Los Angeles Laker by the deadline. And that will send Lonzo in that deal.
Yeah.
I believe the Kemba Walker move is something nobody's talking about, but it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense for both teams.
Yep.
I'm just happy that Crumb Ralph is getting exactly what he deserves.
But you know what? But here's the scary thing, Crum. Like, I had him finishing 5th in the Western Conference, which is very good. That's higher than a lot of people think. I mean, there's a lot of people who think they're going to miss the playoffs, which they very easily could. But the reason why I had them somehow making the playoffs and not scrapping into it, and I think it's going to be close. I mean, I don't think that it's going to be comfortable by any means, but I just think the Western Conference is so bunched. LeBron James is going to completely flip this team. I mean, he'll ship everyone out. I mean, you saw what he did with Cleveland, and Cleveland was an awful, awful team, and in my opinion, he had no plans on being there past that season. So I think we can easily see Cleveland 2.0 from last season, where he just flips everybody. And the reason why I say that is because a bunch of the newly acquired players that aren't the young kids are all on 1-year deals. So he planned for this. That's why I think if Rajon Rondo, who, listen, aside from what happened, over the weekend, he has a reputation. He doesn't last anywhere. Like there's a reason why he's going all over the league. So in my opinion, when Rajon Rondo, his stay runs out, Kemba Walker will be the move.
Sure.
Because the argument is, how can you trade for Kemba Walker when you have Rajon Rondo? Well, when you don't have Rajon Rondo, then you'll have Kemba Walker. Yeah. So right now, they're so bad because all of this of LeBron playing off the ball, it's one of the most idiotic things I've ever seen. Because with this team, where there is no clear number 2 superstar, you're taking the ball out of the best player's hands. You can't do that when you have this roster.
Yep.
When you have Kemba Walker or Damian Lillard, okay, you can do that. But with Lonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma, who I like Kuzma, Lonzo's okay, Josh Hart's a star. Mm-hmm. When you do that, it's not going to work, especially in that conference. So that's my no huddle.
I got one more. You done? Or
I have another one. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Remember?
Do you need me to be
months
done? Should
No,
I
I didn't.
He's like, you done?
You done now?
No, I
You
didn't
done
mean
now?
it that way. Stop it.
Unlike Brodo, I want your ass to hang up.
Yeah, you can't get off the phone with me.
Oh, then you'll love this one. Remember months ago how I posted that Facebook thing about
Oh, which one?
about I'm getting to it. About me thinking about buying a Kareem Hunt shirt, and everyone ripped me for it.
Yeah, you bought the shirt.
No, I didn't buy that. I didn't buy that shirt.
Yeah, it's in the mail.
No, I didn't buy that shirt. I found. Thank God.
I found one in the trash.
No, I found one.
And I picked
I
it
found
up.
an alternate, which is a great compromise.
Yeah, you know what it is probably, Crumb? It's a Kareem Hunt jersey, but it's an Eagles one.
No. No.
Like the Brett Favre one I told
Yep.
you my teacher had in high school, which was
No.
the fucking stupidest thing I've ever
I'm
heard.
sorry. Go ahead, Chucks. Go ahead, Chucks.
It's a college one.
Look at my shirt right now.
It's not a jersey.
No, it's not a jersey.
It's a T-shirt. What does it even say?
It says
Oh, it's at ESPN at one point.
KH27. Kareem Hunt opened up his own website with his own store and his own apparel,
Oh, it's by that merch time.
and I bought his merch. They had one Kareem Hunt official logo shirt, and he has a bunch of other stuff on there. But I got a shirt that is Kareem Hunt that has nothing to do with Chiefs on it.
You know what I got this week?
So-
I got a Gritty T-shirt. So
Nice.
You met him
That's
too.
awesome.
I saw you met him.
God, whoa! Let me tell you,
Oh,
I want to
here
hear this.
Another huddle. Another no huddle. Here we go.
I have to say, I have never seen anything like it. Literally, the line to meet him yesterday. So I actually got in line twice. The reason I got in line twice. Well, so he came out when we were there, and me and my dad were there, and a line starts forming behind us. So we were like, let's just get in line. But I went to the game with my parents. My mom wanted to meet him. So my intention was just to get in and take the picture for her. I wasn't going to leave her in line by herself. So I got in line twice. And I got to tell you, you guys know how much I go to Orlando and I go to Disney.
Yeah. If we meet the princesses.
I don't think I've ever waited in a line to meet Mickey as long as this fucking Gritty line was. They had to cut the line and turn people away who were waiting in line for like 10 minutes. And they're like, you got to go.
Let me ask you
Game
this.
time.
Yeah, I'm
Wait.
waiting.
So then we get in line, and my mom goes up to Gritty, and he like kisses her hand, and he starts dancing with her. Got great pictures.
Did he squeak?
So then I was like, I don't know if he squeaked or not because I was just like in his zone. You know
Such
what I mean?
a weird sentence. I don't know if he
But-
squeaked or not.
Well,
He squeaks, I'm telling you.
I just said I was just like I was like I just want to get a picture hugging you, and then he hugged me, and it was like this great
And
hug,
then he hugged me.
and it was like a great hug.
It was a great hug.
And if you guys saw the pictures though,
Oh, I saw it.
the pictures are absolutely priceless of our faces, to the point where my buddy Nick texted me, or his wife tagged me on Facebook and said, Richie said, Chrome and Gritty look like brothers because they have huge red beards. And I was like, or orange beards, and I was like, yes. Oh, it was anyway, it was a cool experience, and he's very interactive throughout the game, like in a fun way. Some people said, I think he's going to be, a flavor of the month. I could see him being just as popular as the Fanatic. It reminds me a lot of how the Fanatic kind of reacts, but his social media is still on point.
I just can't wait so he's around when the Flyers are actually good.
Oh,
Like,
my God.
imagine Gritty in like a playoff series against the Penguins.
Oh, that would
Oh,
be great.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't even seen him
I know.
interact with Crosby yet.
I know.
You know what I'm
my
saying?
God.
Like, I'm pretty excited.
I mean, he
for
just
it.
destroyed the penalty box. Like, if he's already doing that and the team stinks.
You had to see the people in the crowds, like when he's there, obsess over this
Oh,
guy.
I know.
He's so good.
Let me ask you this. Was the line longer to meet Gritty or to meet Alexa Bliss and John Cena?
I got in and out in the John Cena line in 15 minutes.
Oh, my God. So it's Gritty?
The Alexa Bliss one was, I had to go early, so I waited. The Sandlot one was long. So
Oh, I
the
forgot about
Sandlot
that.
beat,
Yeah.
which, by the way, I met the Sandlot cast. Dream
Where
of
did you
mine,
even
my
do that?
favorite movie as a kid. They were doing a tour all summer. Yeah, they were doing like a tour all summer. It's the 25th anniversary of the movie.
Okay.
So obviously, Mike Vitar, who played Benny the Jet Rodriguez, he is Smith. I don't even know where the hell I got Smith from. But he's not a part of it because he has a lot of legal issues. Him and his buddies beat a guy literally into like brain damage. So if anyone asks why he hasn't been a part of it, he's got legal issues because him and his buddies got drunk and beat a guy almost to death.
Jeez.
Actually, they did beat him to death and had to revive him through CPR because they're firefighters.
Oh.
So anyway,
Oh my god.
got to meet the whole cast. Got to meet Phillips, who was the kid on the bike going back and forth with him. You can play ball like a girl and whatever. You bought for apples in the toilet and you like it. And then, of course, one of my first ladies.
Oh my god.
One of the ladies, one of the little chubs, made me realize I'm a dude who has stuff that does stuff. Wendy Peppercorn. She was there, and at 44 years old, good Lord. Still gives Chrome a little wiggle. Dig it.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm living. So, and if Tom's watching or if he hears this, he'll know what I'm talking about. There's an inside joke with Tom, Chris, and I. A social media joke. A couple over the summer, we made there was a post about the actress.
Yeah.
She did something, and we just kept tweeting her, just calling her Wendy. We just kept doing it. Like as A2D, we were like, Wendy, answer me. Wendy. So it's on the surface, it doesn't make sense, but trust me, there's a whole story with Wendy Pepper.
She's amazing. One of the greatest thrills. And the picture came out really cool. They were really nice.
They look cool.
They were really cool guys. One of the twins, not Repeat, the younger one, but the taller brother, is an Eagles fan. Him and
Oh, nice.
They were at the
guy
game.
who played him were actually at the game. He had told me he was going to the game. He was wearing Eagles gear and stuff. But it was just really, listen, how often do you get to meet essentially the entire cast of your favorite movie growing up?
Yeah.
That shit just doesn't happen. Great experience. I enjoyed it immensely. Anyway, good stuff this week.
Crazy show.
Yeah. We kind of went all over the place. Sixers distracted us at the end because we were hoping for some kind of a positive end.
But no.
Didn't get it again. But, guys, great show. Thank you for joining us on YouTube, on Periscope, on Instagram, and Facebook. Our Scanzano Sports Poll question this week. Our other sponsors, Gibson Mayer LLC. And, of course, Stream Smart. Ryan, great show today. We appreciated it. I really, really hope that we have a lot more positivity to talk about next week.
Me too, man.
Please, God.
Just something.
But tomorrow you got The Fix. You got AM and the PM. Thursday we got Lazy Booking, which is going to be a really hot show. Obviously, if you're a wrestling fan, or even not, just watch the national news. Big news that happened. We're going to really talk about a lot of that. Hockey Happy Hour. Saturday Hooligans. Monday Sports Hounds. And we're back with you guys next. And Sunday, Agree to Disagree. I always miss one.
See my
Ryan.
face? I'm like,
I forgot.
Damn you.
Real quick, I did forget.
Monday we got Sports
I
Hounds.
totally forgot. Sorry. Next week, it's very possible we could be having our first guest on the show.
Don't tease something we don't know yet.
All right.
Shut your
So
mouth.
no, it's very, very possible.
Okay.
So tune in next week for that.
Well, let's hope you are tuning in and seeing that. But anyway, for Chucks, for Chrome, Mr. Brodo, guys, we appreciate it. Fly, Eagles, fly. Please fly. And
just don't die.
Let's get that W over there
Yes.
in London. Take care, guys.